Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing part 9 of my video series with accounting questions. So let's just go ahead and get started. I have 20 questions, so I want to knock this out during my lunch hour, so I need to get going. So the first question is, I know this is a random question, but as an accountant, do you work every day, Monday through Friday, or do you have some days off? That's a great question because I think depending on where you work and stuff, that can vary. For me, I do work Monday through Friday. My hours are normally like 7 in the morning until like 3:15, 3:30. Yeah, but I work from home on Tuesdays. So on those days, I just start whenever I want and kind of end like 8 hours later. But yes, I normally work Monday through Friday. The next question is from Molly. She says, I'm currently a freshman in college. I have a bit of a different path. I didn't know what I wanted to do right away. So I went to work and got work experience in administrative duties, management, and worked as the manager of the cost savings division in my district. I have been working a little with accounting and I'm in Illinois. I have been looking into transferring universities and wondering how you chose the university, or whether you have heard one program is better for preparing you to enter the workforce. If you could provide a bit of insight, I would really appreciate it. Thanks. So that's definitely a very different path than I took. I went straight to college, and while I was in college, I got some experience doing internships. How I chose my university, honestly, as a senior in high school, I did a little bit of research about different companies, but for the majority of what I did was I was planning on doing nursing, and so I looked for good nursing schools, and I ended up going to ISU, which they have an amazing nursing program and they have an amazing accounting program. So I honestly just got lucky that they had a good accounting program. Their business school is amazing, but really any of the state schools in Illinois are pretty good at pretty good in business and in accounting. I know U of I is a really good school for accounting. Illinois State is good. Northern. I think those 3 schools are known the most for preparing you, especially for the CPA exam. But really all I did was I just kind of looked at the programs and kind of saw what people said. You could look at the pass rates for the CPA exam to kind of get a better idea too. The next question is from Michael. He says, I have bad laid skills and an accent. Do you think this major is right for me? I don't think any, I'm not sure what laid skills are, but an accent I don't think will be an issue. I think I've said this before, but I think companies look for, I'm going to take this off. I think companies look for diversity, and so the fact that you're a little different might actually benefit you. And I'm sorry guys, I didn't apologize already. I'm in the car and this is the only layout that works, so I know there's like a bar in my face, but I'm sorry about that. Blair Waldorf asks, hi Sarah, I was wondering what your workstation is like. Is it a cubicle style environment or is it a big office with multiple desks? Also, does your company have standing desks for those who would like to work at a standing desk a couple hours a day? I ask because I'm extremely interested in everything accounting related, but the sitting down for long hours thing scares me. It's a concern because I get pain when I sit for too long. Okay, so in my office, and this again varies depending on where you're working. So, one thing that I would suggest is going to their office for an interview, just so you can kind of see what the environment's like and meet some of the people and kind of get an idea. At my office, there are offices on the outsides of the walls, if that makes sense. So along the windows and walls, there are offices, and that's really just for like the senior VPs and stuff like that. Even managers have cubicles. And then everybody inside, like managers and, you know, regular employees, they have cubicles, and our cubicles are short, so when you stand up you can definitely see everybody, but they are more cubicles than open space. I know a lot of companies are going more into like an open workplace type of thing, and luckily we still have cubicles because I need my own space. But as for the standing desk, my company actually gave everybody the option if they wanted to get a stand-up desk. They bought some type of contraption that like helps you raise your desk. So really, if you want to sit down, you can sit down. If you want to stand up, all you do is like lift this little bar and it pulls it up, and then you can stand. It's actually really convenient. I ended up asking for it, and I use it once in a while. So yeah, that's definitely a huge benefit of my company, is the fact that you get to do that. But I feel like that's becoming more of a common thing nowadays because people are learning that sitting down is really bad for your health. But yeah, so we have cubicles, and we have the option to have a standing desk. Ed asks, during what year in the 4 years in college should you begin your internship process? I mentioned this before. Really, companies are going to hire you when you are starting or hire you for an internship your junior year. What normally happens is you do an internship at like during the summer after your junior year. So you would apply in the fall of your junior year, the very beginning of your junior year, and then after that year goes on, you know, is done, in that summer, that's when you would intern. That's a little bit different though. Sometimes you can find companies that will give you an internship sooner. So for me, as soon as I was a freshman, I started going to internship fairs, and I ended up getting an internship my second semester of my sophomore year. So I got it almost a year earlier than all of my other classmates. So really, I would say start looking into them early. I would go and talk to people, see if they're willing to hire you early, because really, if you're able to get your foot in the door, that's more experience that you're going to have over other classmates, and that's the experience thing is key, because everybody's going to take the same classes. Most people's grades are somewhat decent, so the experience is going to be huge. So I would say that the normal time to look is the beginning of your junior year, but I would start earlier if you can. The next question is, was your sister able to find any internships since she took the online route, or is that something she chose not to worry about? Thanks. Okay, so my sister's in a little bit of a different situation. She went to school for a bachelor's degree in biology right after high school, and then she graduated and decided that she didn't want to become a doctor or become a dentist, and so she decided to go back to school for accounting because she realized that that was something that interests her, and she saw that I was able to get a job that paid decently. So she's actually graduating pretty soon, I think in the next week or two, and she has not looked for internships because of her like personal life. She's getting married in March, and so she's been doing a lot with planning the wedding, and she's also considering other types of jobs. Instead of just getting a normal job, she's looking into maybe doing like personal finances for people, providing budgeting services and stuff like that. So she's kind of doing like a non-traditional route just because of the lifestyle that she has and that she needs the flexibility. But I can't comment to her internship, how easy it was for her to find an internship, because she hasn't really tried. It just hasn't worked out with her schedule. The next question is, can I become an accountant with a degree in information management? I am a major in information management, security, and network assurance. I am almost done and do not want to change my major last minute. Any advice? Again, I don't have any experience with this. I would say all of the accountants that I know went to school for accounting. If you can, I would suggest maybe taking an accounting class just so that you are somewhat familiar with it. You might be able to find a company that is willing to work with you and like teach you stuff and everything, but honestly, I think taking a few classes in accounting is probably your best bet, just so you have some knowledge under your belt about accounting. But you never know. You just have to find the right company. The next question is, hi Sarah, I'm a college student in Texas and I'm going to transfer to U of H in a year, but I have no experience in accounting. I have a part-time job at a retail store and I don't know where to get experience at. I'm afraid to have a degree and no job. Again, I wouldn't worry about it. Most college students don't have experience. So the first thing that I would do is look for internships. That's going to be your experience. That's where you're going to get it. But again, just remember, like, most people don't have experience. There's also college students who leave college with no internship. So I would just start doing that, and then you'll have a little bit of a head start on them. Jason asks, great video. Thanks for the advice. I am currently a freshman in college with a major in accounting, and I'm starting my actual accounting classes in the spring, although I have taken accounting in high school. I have a few family friends in the field offer me internships when I need them, but when do you recommend I start applying for them, and what classes do I have to have under my belt so that I excel in them? Also, what is a typical and brief day in the life of an accounting intern? Also, in my first semester, I got employed at the Campus Involvement Center, became secretary of a club, got into a leadership program, and plan to join the accounting club next semester. I made involvement a big priority on top of good grades. Thanks in advance. Okay. When do you recommend I start applying for them? And what classes do I need to have under my belt? Usually companies want you to have at least your junior year done before you start the internship. So that would be like intermediate accounting 1, intermediate accounting 2, usually like auditing and tax. But again, it really depends on what company you're looking for. And like I said before, you would want to start looking at the latest your junior year, the very beginning of your junior year. They usually have like a fall internship fair. That's where they're going to select interns for the following summer. So make sure that you go do that during your freshman. So you have a year. But again, I would start sooner than later. Like I said, I went as a freshman and I was able to find an internship my sophomore year. What is a typical and brief day in the life of an accounting intern? I would say every day is kind of different, especially because you are kind of just being handed off jobs. So what I would expect to happen, and I can kind of speak to like one of my internships, what I would do is as an accounting intern, what I would do is the night before, the day before, my manager that I was working with would tell me what our assignment was. Okay, so meet me at this company at this time. Every day was completely different. Usually you didn't stay at a place for more than like 3 days. And when, and even the times would change. Like, oh, be there at 7. Oh, be there at 9. And then how long you would stay would change too. Some days you would leave at 3. Some days you'd leave at 6. You just never know. So what I would do is I would get there, set all of my equipment up, because as an auditor, you are just completely like taking all of your stuff and bringing it to location to location. I would set everything up, kind of check my emails, and then I would go over to the manager and ask them what they wanted me to do. And at that point, they would give me assignments. I would finish them, bring them back so they can review them. They might make changes, want me to add more stuff. Then they would give me more. So really, as an intern, you are going back and forth, like giving them stuff, them reviewing it, maybe redoing it, getting more stuff. So you're really at the mercy of who you're operating under. And that kind of depends. I mean, when I worked in private accounting, when I did my internship, it was way more individual work. So I would be doing a budget and I was responsible for that. I also met with managers and I was kind of responsible for putting the work together and the presentations together. So it really depends on the company. It depends on the industry that you're working in, but really you are getting work from who's, managing you, and you're kind of at their mercy. And it seems that you're very very involved in activities, which is great. really the accounting clubs are really what you want to focus on if you want to be an accountant, because that's where you're going to meet companies and make your connections. A lot of my when I was in Beta Alpha Psi, which is an accounting fraternity, if you haven't looked into it, definitely look into it, because they're huge. They have conferences and everything. I held 2 different positions there. I was the events coordinator, which meant that I was working directly with a lot of accounting firms to set up when they would come to talk to us. And then I was also president my senior year. So there were times when I was interviewing for internships and they let me skip the beginning stage of interviews so that because they knew me already. They knew how I communicated. They knew all of that. So they didn't make me do all of that. So definitely look into accounting fraternities if your school has one, and make sure you get super involved in the accounting clubs. Next question is, hi Sarah, my name is Miguel. I am a high school senior and I am planning to major in accounting. I have no clue what university I want to go to. I have been accepted to UIC, Loyola, and DePaul. I was wondering if you had any information about these universities. I would like to work for one of the big 4 firms and have heard that more students are recruited from DePaul than other 2 universities. Do you know if that's true? Do you know which one has a better accounting program? Thank you. Honestly, I haven't heard too much about those 3. When I was looking into schools, and even like what I hear now, again, University of Illinois, Illinois State, and NIU, I've heard have like really amazing accounting programs. Not to say those schools don't have good accounting programs, but those are the 3 that like most people talk about. So unfortunately, I don't know anything about those schools. I never even applied or looked into those. I also don't know about recruiting, but I'm sure if they have a good accounting program, you're gonna have no problem with that. Question from Laura is, did you start at community college? I have the option of doing associate's degree in accounting or associate's business transfer, then bachelor's of accounting at university level. What route did you take? I went straight to a university, and really I did that because I didn't want to stay at home, and I really didn't have the option. My parents actually left. They moved to a completely different state like 2 days after I graduated from high school. So the first thing, I didn't have anywhere to live if I did stay at community college, but also I really wanted to go away to school. For me, that was really important, and looking back, I'm glad that I did it. I know it ended up costing me a lot more money, but one huge thing that helped, and maybe it didn't matter so much because I had good grades as it was, but I've heard of people transferring and having really amazing, like straight A's in community college, transferring to the university level and not getting such good grades because your major classes are usually harder than your gen eds. And then your GPA at the university is not so great. And my husband actually dealt with that as well. He had really good grades in community college. Then when he transferred, he didn't have such good grades, and that really brought his GPA down quite a bit. So I went straight to university, but I know there are many benefits and many drawbacks of doing that, but it really just, it's whatever works for you. I don't think it's going to affect your ability to get a job at all, if that's kind of what you're worrying about. Sun1489 asks, how old are most people getting their CPA license? Honestly, I don't know. I'm sure that's something that you could Google. Most of my friends did it right after they graduated from college. So, 23, 24. I'm going to be like 27 when I'm done. So, really, I think it just depends on what your priorities are. They all wanted to be done right away. For me, I wanted to get some experience under my belt before I did it. So, honestly, I don't know what the average is, but I'm sure you could kind of look that up and find that out. Same person, Sun1489, asks, I registered for Intermediate Accounting 1 and Cost Accounting yesterday, and the advisor told me that I should be prepared to study for about 20 hours a week per accounting class. How accurate is this? I also plan on joining a fraternity, not a business one, so I want to know if I would be able to have enough time for it. That's tough because I know fraternities are very time consuming, so I don't know. I based off of how I used to study, I wouldn't have had time for it because I studied a lot. I'm trying to think. So I had 5 accounting classes like during a semester, and I would say I studied probably 4 hours a day. So 28, I would say 20 hours a week for all of your, maybe not, I don't know, that might be more accurate. I honestly don't remember, but I would say 20 hours a week per accounting class is probably pretty high. They might be including like actual class time in that. But I mean, if that's something, if those things are two things that are important to you, if your accounting classes are important, if your fraternity isn't important, you'll make it work. But honestly, I did probably study for probably like 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. So 28 hours a week, I would say. But that was for all of my classes, so I don't know how accurate the 20 hours is. Again, the same person, Sun1489, says, whenever I tell people that I am majoring in accounting, they always tell me how boring it is, and they just generally poop all over my major. Sorry, I don't want to swear on here. Then I ask them what they're majoring in, and they always are doing something like film or dance. Did you have to deal with this a lot in college? I know accounting is like one of the best degrees to have, and I find accounting entertaining. I don't know how others find it so unbearable. I've had a lot of people in general not understand accounting and think that I'm doing it for the money. I've had so many people think that. And honestly, I took accounting in high school and enjoyed it. Like, it was my favorite class in my senior year. So, of course, when I said I wanted to major in accounting, a lot of people were like, really? Are you sure? It's a lot of math, which is completely wrong. There's really no math. It's very basic math, so that's completely wrong. But yeah, a lot of people think that it's boring. They're like, how could you sit down all day? How could you just be at a desk and push papers around? And honestly, when people say stuff like that, I'm like, well, what are you doing with your degree? Because I know people who went to school, like you said, for film or art or whatever, and they don't have a job. They're not supporting a family. They couldn't support a family. They're still living off their parents. I have so many people that I know who went to school for something completely random, and they're living with their parents. And I never had to deal with that. Like, I always had a job. I always had an internship. So not that like you shouldn't do what you want to do. If you're interested in film or music or whatever you want to do, then you should pursue that. But to kind of downgrade accounting just because you want to do something else is not okay either. But yes, I had to deal with that all the time. I've had so many comments throughout my college career, even now when I tell people I'm an accountant. People make comments and stuff, and honestly, it doesn't bother me because I am employed. I'm able to support my family. And those are all things that you can say. If they're being like smart about it and whatever, you could be like, well, I'm gonna have a job one day, and what do you plan on doing with your degree? Or you could just ignore it. I did that a lot, just to not create problems or whatever. But yes, I dealt with that. I'm sure all accountants deal with it. Danielle asks, whoa, what company interviewed you 15 times? Was it one of the big 4? It was not a big 4, but it was an accounting firm. It was the one that I actually got the job. I was an intern during the summer at a public accounting firm. So they interviewed me not 15 times, but like I had 15 interviews from different people the same day. It was insane. But yes, it was not a big 4. It was a different accounting firm. They're like a mid-sized firm. Striker asked, no advanced accounting course. I'm studying to be an accountant, and I have a question. As a first-year entry-level accountant, can you get by with only financial and managerial accounting knowledge, or do you also have to rely on intermediate accounting knowledge as well? I know you have to know and complete all the necessary accounting classes to get the bachelor's degree, but in the workforce as a first-year entry-level accountant, will the daily work be more basic financial accounting, or do you have to rely on intermediate accounting level knowledge to complete daily work activities? Okay, so I think this might have been on my video about my accounting courses. To answer your first question about no advanced accounting classes, I did take advanced auditing, I also did an internship that was considered an advanced accounting course. Really, at my school, you got your advanced accounting courses as you were getting your master's degree. And I am getting an MBA. I did not get a master's degree in accounting, so that's why I do not have any more advanced accounting classes. Once you get into your master's degree, then you do advanced financial and stuff like that. I, again, am getting my MBA, so I'm not going that route. But that is something that you could do. And even if you, instead of taking advanced auditing, I could have taken advanced financial. I wanted to do auditing at that time and whatever. As for your question about do you need all of the accounting work, it really depends on where you're going to work. If you are working in public accounting, then yes, you definitely need you need all of the classes to be able to do it. If you're going to work in private, it depends. It depends on what industry you're going to be in. Because I am in the insurance industry, a lot of the accounting rules are different. Or like you have to state something two ways. You have to do it through GAAP and then also through statutory accounting. Honestly, I don't think it's a good idea to get a job before you get a bachelor's degree. Unless it's like a part-time thing as you're working, because people are going to expect you as an accountant to know more advanced level material, and financial and managerial accounting, that's just like the tip of the iceberg. It's definitely not everything that you're going to need to know. So I definitely think that you're going to need intermediate and all of that. The next question is, thanks. Currently studying for my managerial accounting final. I loved this class. Do you know anything about the CMA certification? Anyone you know have it? I am interested in manufacturing and plan on testing for the certification after cost accounting in intermediate 1 and 2. And then Joshua asked, what do you do in a managerial accounting class? Okay, so I don't know anything about the CMA certification. I did have a professor who had it, and it's really meant for manufacturing, which sounds like you knew that. I never considered doing it because I didn't like managerial accounting. Financial is more my speed. So I don't know much about it. I did know someone who had it, but I didn't know them very well, so I really can't answer that question. And then Joshua's question about what do you do in a managerial accounting class, really there's lots of different things, but really you are doing accounting for like a manufacturing setting. So determining how much a job costs to do and stuff like that. Joshua also asked, any tips on QuickBooks, because I have an accounting software class that starts January 8th and it focuses on QuickBooks. Thanks for reading my question. I don't, because in my school we didn't focus on a specific accounting software. QuickBooks is used mostly from like smaller businesses, and my school just didn't find that to be extremely helpful since a lot of bigger companies have bigger software packages. So I don't have any tips. I honestly probably used it in high school when we did a very short little section on accounting software, but honestly I don't know much about it. Guns and Weights asked, do you think it's possible to get an internship/job with a 3.0 GPA? I think so. When I graduated for my bachelor's degree, I had a 3.96. So, and when I was applying for internships, I still had a 4.0. So I definitely can't relate because I had a little bit of a higher GPA, and I had no problems with that. But I think if you have a 3.0, but you're involved in a lot of activities, that could outweigh it. So I would say just get really involved in activities and kind of show them that, yeah, maybe your GPA isn't perfect, but you are doing a lot more. And then the last question is, hello, Sarah. I have one more year to graduate, accounting major. I have a couple questions. I hope you can help me out. What skills should I improve when I'm still in school? Excel, Access, SAP. Excel is huge. I've said that before. I just did a video. I posted it on Tuesday of like common things that you need to know as an accountant in Excel. So check that out for sure. As for Access and SAP, I don't use those. What does the recruiter expect from an interviewee according to your experience? They want you to answer a lot of the very common interview questions. So what I would do is Google common interview questions and really like practice your answers, because they're going to want like a very smooth answer, and they're going to want you to do it without having to think a ton. So I would definitely, before an interview, practice those questions, and also have questions for them. So research their company, find some history on them, find ways where you can connect. For example, I interviewed once and I researched and found that the CEO was born in like a very small town. His family had nothing. So I could relate to that because my family was never very well off, and I really built myself up. I went to school and everything. So I kind of related to them that way. And so I'm like, I can relate to the CEO. I think that it's really great that someone in his position is representative of a lot of people, blah, 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 blah. So definitely just do your research, come up with questions beforehand, practice all of the interview questions. Career path, should I go for a CPA or CIA? That's really depending on what you want to do. I am currently going for my CPA, and that's really the only certification that I'm interested in, but it depends on what you want to do. So hopefully that answered all of your guys' questions. This is a super long video. It's already over 30 minutes. So I apologize for that. I always say I'm going to try and do these every week, and that way they'll be shorter, and then it becomes like 20 questions long and it's a super long video. But keep asking questions, guys, and I will keep answering them. One quick thing that I wanted to say is, if you have questions, please leave them in the videos, because I've had a few people email me through like my business email that I have listed on my YouTube channel, and I can't keep track of what I have going on in that mailbox. That's meant to be for like if people want me to review products or whatever like that. So if you have any questions, just leave them here. Otherwise, I can't really guarantee that I will be looking at them. I only check that once in a while. And it's honestly just easier for me to see the comments on my channel and just print them out and all of that. So please just leave your comments down here. If there's something very specific that you want answered that you don't want other people to see, send me a message on YouTube. That's probably the best way to do it, because then when I check my comments, I can check that as well. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in part 10. Bye guys.